Resilience as a key to success. Hey there! Let's take a moment to think back. Can you recall a day when you felt deeply sad? I mean, the kind of sadness that sits heavy in your chest and doesn't quite leave, no matter what you do. Try to bring that day to the surface. What made you feel that way? Was it a loss? A disappointment? Maybe it was something you couldn't quite explain. And how long did that feeling stick around? Was it just a few hours, or did it linger for days, or even weeks? That moment of reflection? It's something we've all experienced. Truly, every single one of us has had days like that. You're not alone. And if you think about where you feel that sadness, you might instinctively point to your heart, right? After all, we talk about heartbreak, heartache, and feeling things deep in our chest. But if we really look closer, that sadness actually begins in our brain. So here's a question to ponder. If our emotions come from our brain, how does that change the way we understand our experiences? You see, the brain is the hub of everything: our thoughts, our dreams, our sense of purpose. Sure, when we fall in love, we draw hearts and talk about butterflies. But the truth? The feeling of love, of connection, of longing, it's all coming from our brain. And that same brain is where sadness lives too, especially after we go through something tough, a loss, a failure, a letdown. Kind of mind-blowing, right? So much of what we feel is rooted not in our chest, but in our thoughts. Now take a moment. Have you ever felt mentally exhausted? Like your brain just couldn't process one more thing? Maybe after a stressful day at work or a tough conversation with someone you care about. That's because our brains can get overworked. They can feel strained, just like our muscles do after intense physical activity. When we push ourselves too hard, we risk burnout. And that can show up as anxiety, sadness, even addiction. It's happening to more people than ever, and honestly, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Isn't it kind of reassuring to know that these struggles aren't a sign of weakness, but a natural response to being overwhelmed? As a scientist, I've always been fascinated by how we can use knowledge to build a better bridge between science and everyday life. I'm especially drawn to helping people understand the mind and how to heal when things get heavy. The World Health Organization actually predicted that by 2020, depression would become the most common illness in the Western world, more widespread than heart disease. And guess what? They were right. But here's the hopeful part. What if we could train our brains, just like we train our bodies? What if mental strength is something we can grow? Sounds a bit futuristic, doesn't it? But actually, science is already on it. In Stockholm, Professor Klingberg and his team ran an experiment where people were given special computer-based brain exercises. Not too different from puzzles like Sudoku or crosswords, but crafted to train what we call working memory. Now here's where it gets exciting. After just 1 month of doing these exercises, participants didn't just get better at the games, they became better thinkers. They could reason more clearly, solve problems faster, understand complex situations with more ease. Wouldn't it be amazing if just a few minutes of mental training each day could boost how we handle everyday challenges? And this isn't just about puzzles. Brain scans showed that the frontal lobe, where a lot of decision-making and focus happens, actually changed. The brain was literally rewiring itself to work better. Inspired by that, our research team at Erasmus University in Rotterdam decided to take it further. We asked, what if we gave this kind of training to people who were struggling with depression or anxiety? So we did. For a whole month, our participants used computer-based mental workouts. The result? Incredible improvements, not only in memory but in mood and motivation too. It was like lifting a fog. People reported feeling more in control, more hopeful. Doesn't that make you wonder what kind of change might be possible if you gave your brain just a little daily attention? Another study in the Netherlands took a look at people with alcohol dependency. Turns out, that same memory training helped reduce their drinking. It wasn't just about willpower. It was about strengthening the brain's ability to make better choices under pressure. So here's the deal. This kind of brain training isn't just for scientists or people with serious mental health struggles. It's for all of us. Because setbacks? Yeah, they come for everyone. No exceptions. And this brings us to something powerful: resilience. Let's talk about that word. Resilience is more than just bouncing back. It's the fuel that keeps us going when life throws curveballs. It's the quiet strength behind every comeback story. Intelligence helps. Emotional smarts do too. But resilience? That's the foundation. Have you ever met someone who just keeps going no matter what? That's resilience in action. It's your ability to get back up after life knocks you down. And that ability? It's one of the most common traits among successful people. You might be thinking, but I'm not always strong. That's okay. None of us are. But here's the truth: resilience is something you can build. It's not just written in your DNA. Think back to the early chapters of your life. Teen years. 20s. Those experiences? They shape us. Many successful people went through a lot early on: family struggles, financial hardship, even trauma. And those experiences became the training ground for their resilience. What moments from your past have shaped the way you handle challenges today? Now, I know it might sound like a soft skill, but resilience has roots in hard science too. Engineers study it. Ecologists use it to measure how ecosystems survive change. Mathematicians are even mapping out how living systems bounce back from extreme stress. And yes, ecosystems shift all the time. They're not static. They adapt. They survive. And so do we. So, what does resilience look like in everyday life? One word: anticipation. When you anticipate problems, you're not just reacting, you're preparing. And preparation gives you power. But it takes initiative. Initiative to step in when things go wrong. Initiative to speak up, to change direction, to try again. Without that inner drive, it's easy to get swept up in the busyness of life. The endless to-do lists, the deadlines, the expectations. Days blur into weeks. Months pass. Years even. But resilience means breaking that cycle. What bold step have you been putting off that could actually help you move forward? So here's a gentle reminder. You are allowed to make bold choices. You are allowed to course correct. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. That's resilience. Let me bring you back to where we started. Think about that sad day again. The one you brought to mind at the beginning. Even on a day like that, you still have power. You still have agency. You can still steer your ship through the storm. And sometimes, the most courageous thing you can do is simply hold on. Because resilience, your resilience, might just be your greatest success. Thanks for listening. Let's keep this conversation going.